Alright, Raider Nation, buckle up and let's dive into the electrifying world of Las Vegas Raiders football. Can you believe it? The 2025 NFL season is officially underway, and your silver and black kicked things off with a gritty, hard-fought 20-13 victory over the New England Patriots in Week 1. What a way to start the Pete Carroll era at Allegiant Stadium. The buzz is real, the vibes are high, and today, we're zeroing in on one of the Raiders' brightest stars, wide receiver Jakobi Meyers, who's not only torching defenses but also navigating some off-field drama with class. From his homecoming in Foxborough to his blunt take on his contract situation, we've got it all covered. Plus a deep dive into what's next as the Raiders gear up for a massive AFC West showdown against the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 2. So, grab your black and silver gear, and let's break it down. Let's start with the headline from Week 1. The Raiders are 1-0, and they look like a team ready to make some noise in the AFC. Facing off against the Patriots at Gillette Stadium, Las Vegas leaned on their revamped offense, led by veteran quarterback Geno Smith, to secure a 7-point win. Now, if you're new to the game, a quarterback is the guy calling the shots, throwing passes, and leading the offense down the field. Geno, who's been around the block with stints in Seattle and New York, was an absolute stud in his Raiders debut. He went 24 for 34, racking up 362 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Not perfect, but gritty, just the way Raider Nation likes it. And who was his favorite target? None other than Jakobi Meyers, the wide receiver who's quickly becoming the heart and soul of this offense. Meyers hauled in 8 catches for 97 yards, showing off the chemistry he's built with Geno all off-season long. Now, let's talk about Jakobi Meyers, because this guy is stealing the spotlight. Facing his former team, the Patriots, where he started his NFL journey back in 2019, Meyers called it a cool little homecoming. Can you imagine the emotions? Stepping back onto that field in Foxborough, where he went from an undrafted free agent out of NC State to a reliable NFL playmaker, it's the kind of story that gives you chills. Meyers told our own Hondo Carpenter, "It felt good. It's been a minute since I've been in Boston." You could hear the pride in his voice, and boy, did he back it up on the field. 8 receptions, 97 yards, and a team-leading 10 targets. Meyers was everywhere, proving why he's the Raiders' undisputed #1 receiver. This guy's not just catching passes. He's catching hearts in Raider Nation with his work ethic and leadership. But it's not just about the stats with Meyers. Off the field, he's been dealing with some real-life stuff. This off-season, he welcomed a new member to the Meyers family, a baby. He called fatherhood the best, worst thing I ever did, joking about the sleepless nights but beaming about the joy of seeing his kid every day. It's a reminder that these players are human, balancing family and fame while chasing greatness. And then there's the contract situation. Meyers is in the final year of his deal with the Raiders, and despite his career-best 2024 season, 87 catches, 1,027 yards, and 4 touchdowns, the team hasn't offered him an extension yet.
Why?
Well, word on the street is that the Raiders are high on their rookie receivers, Jack Beck and Donta Thornton, drafted in April 2025. Beck, in particular, has a similar skill set to Meyers, thriving in the slot, and the team might be hesitant to lock in Meyers long-term with young talent waiting in the wings. Meyers, though, is handling it like a pro. He told reporters, "It's not a one-sided thing. It takes 2 people to tango. So, we're gonna see how it goes." That's the kind of maturity you love to see from a leader. Instead of sulking, he's putting his head down and focusing on the next challenge, the Los Angeles Chargers. Meyers didn't mince words about the matchup, saying, "They play hard. Their coach has got them fired up the last couple of years. They've got a good offense, but we're gonna do our part." That's the Raider mentality, tough, focused, and ready for a fight. And let me tell you, this Week 2 clash at Allegiant Stadium on Monday Night Football is gonna be a banger. Let's zoom out for a second and put this win in context. The Raiders' 20-13 victory over the Patriots wasn't just a feel-good moment, it was a statement. Under new head coach Pete Carroll, who, at 73 years and 357 days, became the oldest coach in NFL history to win a game, this team is showing it's got the grit to compete in a tough AFC West. Carroll, the mastermind behind the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl run in 2013, brings a winning pedigree to Las Vegas. And with offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, known for his high-octane schemes, the Raiders' offense is starting to click. Geno Smith's 362 yards were a big deal, but the defense deserves some love too. They held the Patriots to just 13 points, sacked quarterback Drake May 4 times, and limited New England to a measly 60 rushing yards. That's the kind of defensive swagger that reminds you of the Raiders' glory days with legends like Howie Long and Lester Hayes. Now, let's talk history, because the Raiders' story is one of the richest in the NFL. Born in Oakland in 1960, this franchise has seen it all. 3 Super Bowl titles, 1976, 1980, 1983, epic rivalries with the Chiefs and Steelers, and a fanbase that's as loyal as they come. The move to Las Vegas in 2020 brought glitz and glamour with the $1.9 billion Allegiant Stadium, nicknamed the Death Star for its sleek, futuristic look. But don't let the shiny new home fool you. Raider Nation still bleeds silver and black, carrying the same rebellious spirit that defined the team under Al Davis. Fun fact: did you know the Raiders' iconic logo, with the pirate in the eye patch, was inspired by a random actor in a 1950s TV commercial? That's the kind of quirky history that makes this team so special. Back to the present, let's break down the Week 1 performance with some numbers. Geno Smith's 362 passing yards ranked him among the top quarterbacks in the league for the week, and his connection with Myers and rookie tight end Brock Bowers was electric. Bowers, by the way, had 5 catches for 103 yards before leaving with a knee injury. Fingers crossed he's back for Week 2, because that kid's a game changer. Rookie running back Ashton Jeanty struggled, managing just 38 yards on 19 carries, but don't sleep on him yet. The offensive line, anchored by Colton Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson, kept Geno clean for most of the game, which is huge against a blitz-heavy team like the Patriots. On defense, Max Crosby, yep, the same Max who's been terrorizing quarterbacks since 2019, was a menace, contributing to those 4 sacks on May. So, what does this all mean for the Raiders' season? Let's bring in a fictional expert, ESPN analyst Marcus, the Oracle Thompson, for some insight. Look, the Raiders aren't just a feel-good story, Marcus says. Geno Smith gives them stability at quarterback, something they haven't had consistently since Derek Carr's prime. Jakobi Meyers is a legit WR1, and if Brock Bowers stays healthy, this offense could be top 10 in the league. The defense, with Crosby and a rejuvenated secondary, can hang with anyone. If they can steal a win against the Chargers in Week 2, you're looking at a team that could sneak into the wildcard conversation. High praise, Marcus, and I'm inclined to agree. The Raiders' 1-0 start puts them in a great spot, especially in a division where every game is a slugfest. Now, let's talk about that Week 2 matchup against the Chargers, because this one's got all the makings of a classic AFC West showdown. The Chargers are coming off a surprising upset over the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1, played in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Yep, the NFL's going global. Los Angeles, led by quarterback Justin Herbert and a revamped offense under coach Jim Harbaugh, is no joke. Herbert threw for 289 yards and 2 touchdowns against Kansas City, and rookie wideout Ladd McConkey made some noise with a highlight reel catch. The Chargers' defense, though, is what Myers was talking about. They play hard, with a physical front 7 that'll test the Raiders' offensive line. The key for Las Vegas? Keep Geno upright, let Myers work the short and intermediate routes, and get Jeanty going on the ground. If the Raiders can go 2-0, they'll send a message to the Chiefs and Broncos that they're ready to compete for the division crown. Let's sprinkle in some pop culture for fun. Picture this: Jakobi Meyers, fresh off his Week 1 performance, walking into Allegiant Stadium with Sweet Caroline blasting in his headphones, a nod to his Boston roots. Or maybe he's channeling his inner Tony Stark, strutting into the Death Star like he owns the place. The Raiders' vibe is pure Hollywood. Think Ocean's 11 meets Mad Max, with a dash of Vegas swagger. And with stars like Myers and Crosby, this team's got the charisma to match. Fun fact: Myers, a former high school quarterback, once threw a 70-yard touchdown pass in a game. Talk about an arm. That versatility is why he's so dangerous in Chip Kelly's offense, which loves to get creative with its playmakers. Statistically, the Raiders' Week 1 win stacks up well against their recent history. Last season, they went 8-9, missing the playoffs but showing flashes of potential. Their 362 passing yards in Week 1 were the most in a season opener since Derek Carr threw for 435 against the Ravens in 2021. Myers' 97 yards put him on pace for another 1,000-yard season, which would make him the first Raiders receiver to do it back-to-back since Amari Cooper in 2015-16. The defense, meanwhile, allowed just 13 points, their best Week 1 defensive showing since 2018. If they can keep that up, they'll be a tough out in a conference loaded with offensive firepower like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Let's hear from a fictional Raiders fan, Maria from Henderson, Nevada, who was at the watch party in Vegas. Man, seeing Jacoby go off against his old team? That was personal. Geno was slinging it, and the defense was hitting like the old Raiders. I'm hyped for the Chargers game. Allegiant's gonna be rocking. Maria's not wrong. Allegiant Stadium, with its 65,000 screaming fans, is one of the NFL's loudest venues. The Raiders' home opener on Monday Night Football is gonna feel like a heavyweight fight. Picture the black hole, the iconic fan section, waving their flags and chanting, "Riders." It's the kind of atmosphere that gives you goosebumps. Looking ahead, the Raiders' schedule doesn't get any easier. After the Chargers, they'll face the Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, and Denver Broncos in a brutal stretch. But if Week 1 showed us anything, it's that this team's got fight. Geno Smith, at 34, is playing like he's got something to prove. Myers, at 28, is in his prime, and the defense, led by Crosby, is ready to wreak havoc. The big question mark is the running game. Ashton Jeanty's 38 yards on 19 carries won't cut it against tougher defenses. Look for Chip Kelly to dial up some creative plays to get him loose, maybe some jet sweeps or screen passes to exploit his speed. Let's wrap this up with some Raiders trivia to get you fired up. Did you know the Raiders are one of only 2 teams to win Super Bowls in 3 different decades? Their 1983 win over Washington, led by Marcus Allen's iconic 74-yard touchdown run, is still one of the greatest plays in NFL history. And speaking of history, the Raiders-Chargers rivalry is one of the oldest in the AFC, dating back to the AFL days in 1960. The all-time series is tied at 68-68-2, so Monday's game is a chance to tip the scales. Who's ready for some fireworks? So, Raider Nation, here's the bottom line. Your team is 1-0, Jacoby Myers is a star, and Geno Smith is proving he's the real deal. The Chargers are coming to town, and Allegiant Stadium's gonna be electric. Will the Raiders go 2-0 and stake their claim in the AFC West? Or will Justin Herbert and the Chargers play spoiler? One thing's for sure, this is a game you don't want to miss. Tune in to Monday Night Football on September 15th, and let's see if the Silver and Black can keep the momentum going. Follow us for all the latest Raiders news, and as always, just win, baby.